not only because of the potential environmental hazards, but because of the huge waste of the two byproducts, scrap steel and waste oil. It doesn't seem like a lot with just one oil filter, but when you consider there are over 500 million light-duty oil filters manufactured and used each year in this country, it starts adding up. If half of these oil filters end up in the landfill, we have wasted over 75,000 tons of good scrap steel and more than 9 million gallons of waste oil, which represents over 1.5 trillion BTUs of energy. These figures don't even take into consideration the heavy truck and industrial oil filters used each year. Our main purpose is to provide a service that recycles these used oil filters in an environmentally friendly fashion. We work with generators of all sizes. Some may take a year to collect a barrel's worth of oil filters, while others will collect the same amount in less than a week. We recycle filters of all sizes, from lawnmowers to locomotives. We pick up those oil filters and separate the waste oil from the scrap steel while having nothing end up in the landfill. The way we accomplish this takes place in 3 stages. In the first stage, 55-gallon barrels are placed at the generator's facility for collection of the oil filters. There is between 250 and 300 oil filters per barrel. We pick those up and transport them back to our facility, where they are dumped into our stockpile area, which can hold 400 to 500 barrels of used oil filters. Any oil in the bottom of the drum, or what is still dripping from the filters, is collected in our holding tank. Even after a filter has been hot drained for 12 hours, 40% of its weight is trapped waste oil. The second stage of removing the oil is by crushing the filters. They are crushed into 8-inch cubes that weigh about 40 pounds. After crushing, 10% of the weight of that cube is still trapped waste oil. The only way to remove all of the oil is through heat. In the final stage, we load the cubes onto steel pallets and place them into our thermal processing machine. The load consists of up to 80 barrels worth of cubed filters. The thermal processor, or big oven, will heat the filters in the primary chamber up to 1300 degrees Fahrenheit. As the temperature is slowly ramping up over the 20-hour process, we will be reclaiming waste oil well into the 9th hour of the process. Through all the stages, we can reclaim approximately 700 gallons of waste oil from those used oil filters. The rest of the cycle consists of removing the oil as a vapor and carbonizing the paper and the rubber gasket. Because of the 1700 degree Fahrenheit temperature in the secondary chamber of the thermal processing machine, the only thing seen coming out of the stack is heat vapor. All the smoke and vapors are burned up in the secondary chamber. The cubes end up as a completely oil-free No. 1 scrap steel, which then can be melted down at a steel mill or foundry to produce new products. Of the 700 gallons of waste oil that has been reclaimed, we will use about 200 gallons as our fuel for the next cycle of the thermal process. The excess waste oil is sent to a waste oil recycler, where it will most likely be used in the production of asphalt. This process is 100% environmentally friendly, with nothing going to the landfill, and the two byproducts being recycled back into use for new products. It is good for everybody. Our customers don't have to worry about oil filters becoming an environmental issue. Consumers benefit from less expensive products manufactured from recycled steel and waste oil, and we all get to enjoy a cleaner environment.
Our world. The number of vehicles being driven in it increases every day. According to the Department of Transportation, 12 million new vehicles are added every year in the U.S. alone. Over 26 million vehicles are registered in California, and the State Energy Commission estimates that there will be 31.5 million by the year 2020. With more and more cars on the road, dealing with billions of gallons of used oil in an environmentally safe manner is a real challenge.
But What if every drop of waste oil could be reclaimed and reused?
Protecting the environment in California for over 2 decades.
Motor oil, or crankcase oil, is the lubricant that keeps engines running smoothly and efficiently. Every driver knows that motor oil should be replaced regularly. Most people take their car in for service every few thousand miles to get the oil changed, while others prefer to do it themselves.
But not everyone knows or thinks about what happens to the used oil once it's been removed.
Used oil is considered a hazardous waste in California because it's a carrier of contaminants that, when disposed of improperly, are a real threat to the environment. According to the American Petroleum Institute, 1.2 billion gallons of lubricating oil are used in vehicles each year. About half of that oil is consumed in engines, while the remaining 600 million gallons are removed as waste during oil changes.
Millions of these gallons are removed by drivers that change their own oil, of which more than 240 million gallons are improperly discarded. This indicates that 68% of these do-it-yourselfers pour their dirty oil into gutters, throw it in the garbage, or just dump it on the ground instead of taking it to an authorized collection center, which is the right thing to do. Ultimately, that oil leaks into the soil, runs down the sewer system, and finds its way into rivers, lakes. Take a look at this diagram.
Waste oil contains about 5% water, which is removed before processing begins.
The first stage of the process extracts a light fuel by distillation, accounting for 6% of the incoming feed.
A following stage includes vacuum distillation and thin film evaporation, where heavier fuel is yielded. That's another 6%.
Then, lube oil is distilled away from all the solids, polymers, and heavy metals that are in the waste oil, leaving a residue of asphalt flux, a byproduct that accounts for 13% of the initial feed.
The next vital phase is catalytic hydrofinishing, which removes any remaining contaminants while yielding base lube oil that is then fractionated into required viscosities. So, out of 100 gallons of dewatered used oil, the process yields 6 gallons of light fuel distillate, 6 gallons of heavier fuel, 13 gallons of asphalt flux, and 75 gallons of lube oil base stocks.
Evergreen's re-refined production is sold as neutral base oil to custom blenders who blend in the required protective additives. Their final products are later marketed as engine oils, transmission oils, gear oils, hydraulic oils, and other lubricants.
Evergreen's highly sophisticated laboratory analyzes and monitors both the incoming waste oil and the re-refined lube base. The final product is tested one last time against all ASTM standards accepted by the American Petroleum Institute.
This ensures that the metals and other contaminants are all gone, and that the oil is pure, clean, and ready to be reused.